go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back. I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back. The only limit to a human future is in our own imagination.
How do you balance science with science fiction?
They're both the same. The mystery of science fiction is what I'm talking about. Science and science fiction are essentially the same.
Thank you very much.
Now, one thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the Earth. There's no place to go. The Earth is a closed system. One thing I really want you to
just like that. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. A winner. Just like that. We'll be right back. More Price is Right. Don't go away.
Called SLS, which is a heavy lift rocket. It's something that is much bigger than what we have today, and it will be able to launch the Orion capsule with humans on board, as well as landers or other components to destinations beyond Earth orbit. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually. The moon, Mars, the moon, the moon, the moon.
Kinds of technologies that we're testing out on Space Station are definitely helping us with our goals of going beyond low Earth orbit.
A set of crewed flights will test and prove the systems required for exploration beyond low Earth orbit.
And I played a lot of sports. And all of that happened in a little town called York, Maine, across the United States from where we're talking to you right now. Happened in a little town called York, Maine, across the United States from where we're talking to you right now.
Into the black void.
So because you can see, because you can see the stars.
Oh yeah,
you know, and pretty much all the time you can see the stars.
It's not a black
cool
void.
thing.
I mean, it's black, but there's all kinds of little polka dots.
There's all the stars there, and the cool thing is about it, you can see it during the day.
Yeah, you can, and there's more than stars. You can see planets. You can see moons.
You see the gas. Magellan clouds of the Milky
you
Way
see
galaxy.
The Magellanic clouds.
Magellanic. See, I just wanted the Magellan
there's a large
clouds.
one
I didn't
and
want
a small one, right?
Yeah.
And then you can see the zodiacal lights.
Whoa.
Those are amazing. Right before
the lights
sunrise.
of the zodiac.
The lights of the zodiac.
now we're going down this long path in the back. The first one we come to is a lab. And you see on the back, on top of the lab, I should say, the very aft part is this big structure over here. It's called this truss. Sorry. And on the truss, we have the solar arrays. And so we can, of course, that's all on the outside, and we only get out there during the spacewalk. But so that's kind of how this is set up, though. So you see where we are. So here's the lab here. We're going to head into the lab. We set that one up. We put in stuff to burn, almost. They do a bunch of experiments on it. It's kind of like what's over here. This is another combustion rack. And we'll set this all up for them. Put in the fluids, the fuels, the igniters, all that stuff. Set it all up, close it up, and then they run it from the ground. Actually, again, I think they get good science out of that way, and it works pretty well. Over here is a called a fluids and combustion facility. But right now, it has a really big microscope in there, and we put samples in there for them to look at on the microscope. From the ground. So you see most of the science here is a combination of us doing work, and then on the ground they do a lot more work, and then they're the ones, of course, who are the experts. We're not the experts in the science, but we just help them out, and hopefully we get good science out of it. Bottom's another storage rack. It's kind of like what's over here too. This is another combustion rack, and again we'll set this all up for them. Put in the fluids, the fuels, the igniters, all that stuff. Set it all up, close it up, and then they run it from the ground. Actually, again, I think they get good science out of that way, and it works pretty well. Over here is called a fluids and combustion facility. But right now, it has a really big microscope in there, and we put samples in there for them to look at on the microscope from the ground. So you see, most of the science here is a combination of us doing work, and then on the ground they do a lot more work. And then they're the ones, of course, who are the experts. They're not the experts in the science, but we just help them out, and hopefully we get good science. Crystallization Observatory, there's all sorts of science around here. And I haven't even got to play with this one, the Fluids Physics Experiment Facility. I haven't got to play with this one yet. So there's lots of science here that I didn't get to even play with up here that's going on. Unfortunately, I won't get to, but there's so much science going on. Well, we have over 200 experiments going on up here. We go into the airlock. And again, if you look on here, it's just starboard. That right there is the airlock, and there's two parts to the airlock. The closest part to us, which would be this part right here, is called the equipment lock, and the most starboard part is called the crew lock. And the crew lock is where you actually go out of when you do a spacewalk. It's what actually depresses down to vacuum, and that's where you open the hatch. Suit up will take us off and stick us in to the crew lock over here, which again right now it was full of a bunch of stuff. And then but that would be empty, of course, for an actual spacewalk. We close this hatch right here and depress this part out to vacuum, then open the hatch. It's down that way is where the hatch is where you open. You can see there's all sorts of equipment we have. This is good in stowage right now because we're not going to do a spacewalk for a little bit. So we just have it more stowed right now for everything on the spacewalk side. And that is unfortunate.
Are you sure to eat?
If you go down from here, it should be nadir in our speech. It's hard to show on this guy because you really can't see it. So basically we're at the hard to show on this guy because you really can't see it. So basically we're at the lab and we're going down towards Earth. If you look at it that way. So it doesn't really show it on here because it's blocked by the Note 2. It's not even on this picture. So that makes it more difficult. But I might have another one that shows it. But it doesn't matter. It's to the port side.
Blame the guy who downloaded the picture.
Yeah, blame the guy who downloaded the picture. Exactly. And it's not on that one either. Alright. But it's on the port side. And this has many functions. Note 3 has many functions. First of all, it's a place for working out. The water to make sure we have bacteria growing, other stuff growing in the water that would be harmful to us. That's how we test it out. This is actually a container that has urine in it. So we get it after the Russians. We put that into our recycling system, our water recycling system. So first it goes into the urine processor, and from there it goes into the water processor to make this drinking water. So actually we're drinking the urine coming from the
NASA urine recycler, test 1, sample 1. It's the first water we've got out of the machine. This will allow astronauts to recycle their urine and sweat into beautiful, clean, clear drinking water. First sample, transparency, subpar.
Oh, that's just piss. You kind of view what it is like from outside out here on the station. But this is the best part out here though, is looking down at Earth. We try to do that as much as possible. Unfortunately, we don't get near as much time as we'd like. They make us do work.
Hello, it's me. You know, indoctrination started while we were still naive, programming our beliefs. And that inertia is the reason we don't feel the earth spinning. Hello, can you hear me? Did you ever stop to question the confession of gravity as a theory?
So my question is, how can you operate a lid on the outside of the space station by manipulating something mechanical on the inside of the space station without losing air pressure?
It's called real good engineer. Real good engineer.
I think it was my joke.
Can you handle
Hello, how are you? Did you get a chance to join Flight Earth and Globe discussion group to discover all the truth? How the sun, the moon, the stars are all revolving around you. There's no more secret. The earth is stationary, it is fixed, unmovable. Hello from the brighter side. They fooled you with that CGI. Sending rockets into the sea, and they're faking that life. ISS
Very exciting time, and I'm so proud of the team.
And what are we learning from having you spending your time up there? I know so much research is done. I'm getting a glimpse of some of it right here in the Oval Office. What are we learning by being in space?
Well, I think probably the International Space Station, Space Station is providing a key bridge.
The Satanic Temple says the statue is a symbol for what they advocate, the separation of church and state.
This country was based on religious freedom, and tonight in what the temple is doing, this is a celebration of true religious freedom.
Now, it's important to note that the Satan statue will not stay here in Detroit. The Satanic Temple wants to take the statue to Arkansas, the state capital there. There is a monument to the Ten Commandments. They want to put the statue next to it as a
Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
crosses across your nose and gets into your other eye,
This is raw, unedited video, just sent via satellite.
Challenger, go with throttle up.
The picture you were just seeing was Christian McCullough's parents watching in horror. These are the students from her school.
Here looking very carefully at the situation. Obviously a major malfunction.
Many of them probably had their view blocked just as we did with the television cameras, with just a huge fireball and a huge cloud of smoke. They may not realize yet what has happened. You see concern etched on their faces. The breath that they've been holding released. And then the realization sets in that something is wrong. And then the realization sets in that something is wrong. That something is wrong.
Something came apart. When the stage came apart.
At that point, all that remained was
Flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded. Our director confirms that we're looking at checking with the recovery forces to see what can be done at this point.
I really want your generation to embrace is that the earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the earth. There's no place to go. I really want your generation to embrace is that the earth is a closed system. We cannot leave the earth. There's no place to go.
I can't forget why